NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.
Sports have plenty of shocking moments. It's part of why we play the game. The big upsets, the great individual performances, and the big surprises are all the part of the fan experience. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the unexpected moments in sports that will leave you shocked. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. The Golden State Warriors collapse. While you can't pin this one down on one moment, a lot of things happened that played into it, and many of them were unexpected. For example, not many predicted that the Warriors would have to deal with injuries to both Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson at the same time that they lose Kevin Durant to free agency. The Warriors were definitely the team to beat in the NBA in past years, but they fell to have one of the worst records in the league thanks to this combination of factors. For one, Kevin Durant was hurt in Game 5 of the Finals against the Toronto Raptors. If you had to look back on one moment when things started to go bad for the Warriors, it might be this one. Not having a healthy Durant for the entire series was part of why the Warriors lost in the Finals. And if they had won the Finals, there may have been a higher chance of Durant not leaving at free agency. That's not for certain, but staying on the team that won the Finals is usually more appealing than staying on one that lost. Also, if the Warriors had won, their dynasty label would still be alive. Even that could play a role in player perception and whether or not players want to come back and play for a team. But it's not just the loss in the Finals and the loss of Durant that contributed to the beginning of the end for the Warriors dynasty. Klay Thompson picking up an injury near the end of the Finals put him out for the beginning of the regular season. That both hurt the performance of the Warriors and made them too reliant on one player, Stephen Curry. The Warriors needed Curry to come through for them during the 2019 season to keep their hopes of being a top team alive. However, those plans were thrown off when Curry picked up a long-term injury early in the 2019 season. Curry would spend a significant amount of time sitting out, and the Warriors' results dropped until they were in contention to be the league's worst team. This fall for grace isn't one that anyone expected when the Warriors made the Finals back in 2018, but that's why it makes this list of shocking moments. The Warriors still have many of their key pieces to try to claw their way back, but after a horrible 2019-20 season, it remains to be seen if they could pull that off. Second, Northern Iowa's buzzer beater. March Madness is called that for a reason. The NCAA men's basketball tournament is some of the craziest moments in sports you'll ever see, and there might be more upsets every year in this one than in any other sports tournament around. Fans love to see these upsets, but it's every team's goal to avoid ending up being on the wrong side of one. Unfortunately for Texas, they were caught in an exciting upset when they lost to Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa isn't a team that's on the forefront nationally. They play in the Missouri Valley Conference, so most of the national audience that doesn't follow mid-major teams hadn't seen much of them before. However, when Northern Iowa did make it to the national stage of the tournament, they showed they had the potential for upsets. The team had its best tournament finish in 2010 when it made the Sweet 16, defeating top-seeded Kansas to reach that round. Northern Iowa didn't have another tournament upset like that one until they faced Texas, but they were able to hold on until the end of the game when it was tied and looked like it would head into overtime. But the Panthers surprised everyone when a desperate half-court shot actually went in, sealing the game at the last second for Northern Iowa. The Panthers went on to lose their next game against Texas A&M and another one that was an NCAA tournament classic. But the buzzer beater against Texas was a moment that will stay in the memory of fans for years after it's happened. Third, sent off for kicking the opponent. Every sport has some things that you don't do, and when the player steps too far over the line, the referee can eject him from the game. We usually don't see this too often because it usually takes more than the usual foul to get kicked out of the game entirely. But former Real Madrid defender Pepe had the tendency to go over the line sometimes. And there's no better example of that than this play where the center back assaulted his opponent. It was a match between Real Madrid and Getafe, and play got intense as Pepe was looking down against the opposing captain Francisco Casquero. But after Casquero was down, Pepe added a bit too much extra. He earned himself a red card through kicking his opponent while he was down, and then got into a scuffle with the other players afterwards. Sometimes red cards are controversial. In this case, the decision for the referees was a pretty clear-cut one. and there wasn't much room to argue against it. Thanks to the red card inside the penalty box, the opposing team received the penalty kick. But fortunately for Real Madrid, it was saved by Iker Casillas. Pepe has had a surprisingly long career despite having some lapses in judgment like this incident. He first became a professional in 2001 and played a solid decade for Real Madrid. These days he's playing for Porto and has over 100 appearances for the Portuguese national team. Sometimes even the best of us let our temper get to us. Next, Matt Barnes' game winner. We have to head back to basketball for this one, but it's not the college ranks this time. This one happened during a close-fought game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Detroit Pistons, and it looked like the Pistons had the home win going into the closing seconds of the fourth quarter. However, Memphis was able to get the ball for one more possession and proved why the game isn't over until the final whistle. The game winner came from Matt Barnes, who was only able to make it to half court, but still hit the shot. The other side just didn't have enough time to come back from this one, leading to Memphis stealing the win on the road in front of a less than thrilled crowd in Detroit. Moments ago, after all, it looked like the Pistons were going to win the game in front of their fans. Barnes has gone on to play for a lot of teams since getting drafted originally in 2002 in the second round, but this one will definitely go down as one of his finest moments across all those years. Then, how about the scuffle behind the play? One regular season game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Cincinnati Bengals took a different turn when a fight broke out away from the ball after the play had already ended. It was only a few seconds since the referee had blown the whistle when players from both sides ran to see what the sudden commotion was. Turns out the problem was a fight between the Bengals receiver A.J. Green and Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey, who had faced each other throughout the entire game and allowed things to boil over into an actual fight. Plenty of players from both teams crowded their teammates and broke the encounter up, but Green was able to get a couple punches in before it happened. Jalen Ramsey is no stranger to controversy. He ended up leaving the team that drafted him on bad terms and joining the Rams through a midseason trade thanks to a falling out with the franchise. That involved plenty of drama on social media and with the fan base. Ramsey landed himself in controversy again during the 2020 season when he ended up in a fight post-game with New York Giants receiver Golden Tate, thanks to family drama involving Ramsey's sister. Jalen Ramsey may be one of the most talented cornerbacks in the NFL, but will probably never see the day where there's not some kind of controversy around him. Lastly, trip from the sideline. Usually when you hear about someone from the outside of the playing field interfering with a game, it's because of a fan. However, there are more types of interference than just the kind caused by fans. Some interference is pretty rare. In a game between the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins, however, we saw something that doesn't happen very often at all. A coach tripping up one of the players on the field. Jets strength coach Sal Alosi was forced to apologize and was suspended for the rest of the season for tripping Dolphins player Nolan Carroll. He had to pay an extra $25,000 fine on top of that, and the suspension meant he was also banned from the team's practice facilities and unable to carry out his duties as strength coach, even outside of the team's games. The narrative around this moment, of course, was deeper than it appears on the surface. Alosi and others may have been placed on the sideline intentionally to deter Dolphins players such as Carroll from running out of bounds while chasing the Jets' punt returner. What wasn't a part of the plan, however, was for Alosi to stick his knee out while Carroll was running by. Alosi's tenure with the Jets would prove to be a troubled one, as the same year he was also reported to get into a fistfight with the team's top cornerback Darrelle Revis. He had other issues too, including a dispute with the team's chiropractor, and resigned from the Jets in 2011. Alosi would find himself a place with other teams in the future, including Jim Moore's UCLA Bruins, but he still found himself in controversy. He got into an altercation with famous rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs over supposedly giving harsher treatment to Diddy's son. The fight reportedly got intense as Combs used a kettlebell and swung it at Alosi's head, but ultimately Alosi would keep his job after this. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.